And we're online. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. You can see my daughter in the corner. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're all doing well. Today, we are going to talk about an exciting news that was published by the American Heart Association yesterday regarding meditation and general health. And it takes a lot of data and a lot of research for medical bodies such as American Heart Association to come to a consensus and make a statement about it.
About something like meditation, which they're very reluctant to make those kind of statements about things that are not pills or procedures. Even lifestyle took a long time to be accepted by bodies, which is appropriate, because if we just make statements about the next thing that has a lot of following, or even years and thousands of years of following, we would be doing a lot of things that are not appropriate.
Absolutely. So we're very excited, and I wanted to kind of read a little bit about what the statement said. So the statement came out yesterday by the American Heart Association, and they said that meditation might be useful addition to heart healthy lifestyle and medical treatment. And you know, there's been a lot of data about the effect of meditation and how it calms one down, and especially for brain health.
Absolutely.
There's been studies that have actually shown that people who meditate on a regular basis have lower stress, have lower anxiety, lower depression, and as a result of all of these risk factors, lower risk for dementia.
Dementia, stroke, depression, obviously, anxiety, all these things are affected. The cognitive diseases are affected by meditation. Making sure that we state that they don't make any particular statement about a kind of meditation.
Right, exactly. It was essentially general meditation, and they've talked about studies that were included in the consensus of this particular statement.
Yeah, in our book, we actually went through the literature for brain, pretty comprehensively, and we found relationships of those who do different kinds of, or groups that do different kinds of meditation, and the effect of that behavior on brain health.
Yeah.
And in our own clinic, in our own program, we actually involve patients with different meditative techniques. Now, we use the word meditation much broader than the population is usually used to. Again, we said it the last time. For us, meditation doesn't mean that you cross your legs and you do a mantra, which is fine. Those are actually fine if it works for you. Anything that helps reduce your anxiety, anything that actually increases your focus. We actually look at two aspects of meditation. One is stress reduction and their effect on cortisol levels, stress hormones, immunity. And the second thing is its effect on building the brain, creating focus, creating consolidating memories and thoughts.
Yeah.
The same thing we talked about sleep, just as significant when it comes to meditative states. And the most important thing is that you have to realize that meditation can be different things for different people.
Exactly. I think that's one of the most important things, because a lot of people, including myself initially, I was very hesitant to include meditation or the practice of meditation in my lifestyle. For a hyper person like myself, it was almost unbearable to sit in a corner and just breathe in and breathe out.
Correct.
And you can do something else, and we have had experience with our patient population.
Absolutely.
Some of our lovely patients, some of them just couldn't sit down, and so they would start walking. We talked to them about music and just essentially relaxing oneself.
Yes, I mean there are usually several components to it.
Right.
One is making sure that you get rid of all the thoughts that create stress.
Yes.
And then physically reduce stress by attending to the muscles, attending to your breathing, sometimes attending to your pulse. All of these factors have an influence on creating a relaxed state, and directly affects your hormone levels and your chemical levels and neurotransmitters. That said, things like walking with a cadence, with a thought process, actually has been shown to be significantly effective, as much as a meditative state where you're just sitting in a corner and eliminating noise.
Absolutely.
One thing that you've instituted in our household is breathing exercises or mindful breathing.
Yes.
While driving, although I can assure you, I don't close my eyes. No. I'm attending to the road.
That would be dangerous.
Yeah, but I do attend to my breathing, to my stress levels, to my muscle and my focus. That's one thing we do on a regular basis.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this American Heart Association statement, which is super exciting, actually made the statement about certain types of meditation being good for health, and they looked at different types of meditation, and I thought it would be important for some of them to be explained. So they looked at variations of meditation, specifically mindful meditation. They looked at Zen meditation, which comes from the Buddhist traditions. They have something called loving kindness, or metta meditation.
Okay.
I like that one. Transcendental meditation, which is essentially a guided meditation, and it needs an expert guidance. And they also looked at relaxation responses. And combination of these meditations seem to lower blood pressure, lower anxiety, lower depression. And when we talk about objective data, it actually lowered the level of cortisol, which is a hormone that is associated with stress. So, we have subjective as well as objective evidence that meditation can lower risk factors for heart disease and as an extension to brain disease.
Correct. So we always talk about the fact that stress has two components. Although we're playing with the word, but that's okay. There's good stress and bad stress. So the whole idea is managing one's stress. And we always talk about the different techniques of managing stress. And the first thing we teach is this management perspective of stress, making sure that all the activities that overwhelm your life, you have control over them, you have a timeline with them, they're measurable, they're attainable, there's a system around it. We've done that with our kids as well. And then other techniques that reduce stress actively, and then increasing the amount of stress or the kind of stress that is driven by you.
Right.
Meditation in there is a component that actually reduces the stress, that actually builds memory, builds focus.
Of course.
Yeah, and we've taught this with our kids. One time I think we should actually show them how Sophie and Alex actually sit there and do the mindful breathing, then how they actually relax the muscles, and also create a focused mindset. We talk about IQ and level of thinking. Well, you can't do much about IQ at this point to the best of our knowledge, but you can increase your cognitive capacity. But at the forefront of all that is focus.
Absolutely.
Any technique that aims to increase your cognition works on focus, and meditation gives you that incredibly.
Absolutely. So, can you also talk about how some of the ways people can include meditation in their daily routine if they're really not used to doing it?
I always say simplicity and proximity. Whether it's exercise, whether it's diet, whether it's studying, start with the thing that can be done easiest and closest to you. When we talk about gym, always you have to start exercising. That's what we say to the patients. And then the poor patient goes and gets a gym membership, and even us, when we had the membership, we never got to go to it because life is busy.
Yes.
And it's tough with the gyms. You have to get dressed sometimes better than some clubs, and you have to drive there and all. No, I want the gym to be right next to me. We want to reduce and eliminate the things that will make it a failure. So I said, bring it to your home. Well, we'll talk about the exercise another time, but with meditation, same thing. A space that's comfortable for you. Sitting there, and let's talk about the sitting type first,
right.
And then one of the most important things is just making sure there's no noise, making sure there's not a lot of stimulus, and just getting better awareness of your breathing technique.
Yes.
This is something that's been with you for all your life and will be there with you for the rest of your life. We never attend to it. No. Our breathing. Just the act of focusing on your breathing actually significantly brings focus and calmness. Sometimes I hold my hand in a posture where actually I can have my thumb on my pulse. So that in itself creates a rhythm. Yes, exactly. A system of following something, and the thing is your own heartbeat.
Absolutely.
What can be more calming than that? And then the next thing is learning how to relax the muscles. None of us know this.
Yeah.
In fact, majority of the neck problems we see, Majority of the back problems we see, especially in the younger individuals or older, it's tension. And teaching people how to tense the muscles, starting with the forehead, going down, and relaxing those muscles.
Feeling everything from your head,
correct,
going down to shoulders and legs and
exactly.
back. Yeah.
That gives you the ability to know your own muscles, learn your own stress levels and how it affects your muscles. That's significant. Then the third component is, in your mind, being in a space that is the most calming space you can imagine. For most people, it's a beach or somewhere.
Yeah.
And then focusing on something. Just those 4 elements. Doesn't have to be at the same time. You can slowly build and eliminate noise. For us, that seems to work incredibly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was a mess before all this. I mean, now look at me. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a fantastic activity to learn. And I'm very incredulous about these things. You know, at NIH, or when I was even earlier in my career, I would make, well, I wasn't very supportive of a lot of this. And I'm still not supportive of some of the magical things that they connect to it. But the act of, you know, really knowing your own body,
yes,
your own muscles, your own stress levels, and taking control of it, how could you be against that?
Very true.
And I think one of the best things we can do is teach our kids how to do that.
Yes, absolutely. It really changes their dynamics between, you know, children and parent, and how they cope and deal with all of their activities in their daily living.
Correct.
That's wonderful. So I'll go over some of the questions that we have from some of our friends that had texted us earlier. One of our friends wanted to ask whether meditation actually structurally changes your brain. Have there been studies that have shown specific changes in the brain with meditation?
As we did the review on this, there are some studies that show that yes, there's a relationship between meditation and different kinds of meditation and brain function and even structure. You know, it's a lot of times people say they're not well powered, and there's a lot of confound, which means there's a lot of other things that could have affected it. But there's no doubt. Let's take a look at the opposite side of it, stress, and the relationship of stress and the brain is well known.
Right.
Individuals under a lot of stress, or even animal models under a lot of stress, seem to have effect on their brain. Their brains have shrunk.
Yes.
Especially certain areas that are susceptible, like the hippocampus, which is associated with Alzheimer's.
Yes.
And then activities that reduce that stress actually stop that process and help grow the connectivity. So there is some evidence when it comes to brain that even with, as far as structural damage or repair, there seems to be a relationship.
Absolutely.
But aside from that, there's strong relationship with depression, with anxiety, with all the other cognitive diseases, but even with stroke and degenerative diseases as well. There's some studies. But of course, there has to be a lot more research done to really solidify that area of research.
That's very true. The next question is about a specific type of yoga called Kirtan Kriya, and some of you might be familiar with it. So the question is, which type of meditation is best for the brain and for health in general? And so the answer, like we said earlier, is whatever works for you.
Yes.
Some of the meditation types have been studied more, like for example, in Alzheimer's disease and brain health in general, transcendental meditation has been studied quite a bit because there were some experts that were really interested to see the effect of this meditation. But generally speaking, whatever works for you, whatever allows you to disconnect from your daily routine on a regular basis, whether it's just sitting on a chair and breathing in and breathing out, or even just going for a walk around the neighborhood.
Correct, and counting the cadence.
And counting the steps.
You did the type of meditation where they gave you a mantra, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
I knew the mantra. They're not supposed to tell you the mantra. I knew the mantra. It was
I
Dean.
did not tell him.
Because every time she looked at me, she felt calmer. So I think that was the mantra.
Well, that's what I told you.
Okay.
No, but primordial sound meditation
right.
is another one where you're given a mantra and you have to repeat that over and over again to bring peace and calmness. And you know, it's something that you're not supposed to share with anybody. So
correct,
anyway.
But I knew it anyway. Well, I think we wanted to make sure that we talk about this paper and more important, or not paper, but the statement
by American Heart Association.
Yeah, that we don't overstate it as always. I don't want, we want to make sure that science is reflected the way it's supposed to, not beyond. But it's a remarkable statement from American Heart Association to talk about meditation.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Suddenly, meditation is now an important component of healthy lifestyle. So just like we attend to our food and exercise and stress levels and optimizing activities, cognitive activities, the same amount of stress is now given to meditation. So see if you can read about it. We've actually mentioned it in detail. We actually have a chapter on it in our book as far as the data is concerned, and its effect on the brain health and prevention of Alzheimer's disease. But make sure that you find out what works for you and what you can include on a regular basis.
Absolutely. So
okay.
Thank you, and
thank you so much for joining us.
Have fun meditating.
Have fun meditating. Have a wonderful weekend. Saturday and Sunday is a good time to meditate.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.